Verse 859. By reason of the manas, etc., there is the accumulation of the skandhas and ayatanas. Non-ego, like a wealthy merchant, moves on with mentation. So the manas, etc. Well, etc. probably refers to the vijnanas, the mano-vijnana, and the other sense vijnanas. Manas is mind. But there's also the mano-vijnana, as I've just mentioned, which is mind consciousness. It's the mind sense. The vijnanas are the senses. Sense consciousnesses. It's about being aware that you're seeing, being aware that you're hearing, being aware that you're thinking, and so on. So manas is different from the awareness of thoughts and ideas and so on. Manas is that, has got that element of choice. A choice which most of us don't exercise. And even as enlightenment practitioners, we don't exercise the choice very much. And the choice is between ignorance and enlightenment. You actually have this choice. It is a choice. But it is a choice once you've stumbled upon the truth. If you haven't, or if you don't remember any insight, then you're still kind of in the dark. But most of us will have had some experience whereby we've seen things in a clearer light. But I've spoken about this sort of thing in the past. I'm going to assume that you are an enlightenment practitioner and that you have some experience in moving from ignorance to enlightenment. This is enlightenment practice. This is a choice we have, and this choice is exercised by the manas, by our intention, our will. So when we're directed towards ignorance, this is when we're contributing to the accumulation of the skandhas and ayatanas. The skandhas and the ayatanas, they are what is going on. They are what the attention is directed to. The attention is directed to various forms. Could be visual forms, sounds, and all the rest of it. It could be feelings. It could be thoughts, thoughts fueled by feelings, fueled by certain desires to have more of a particular kind of sense perception, or less of a particular kind of feeling. That's the skandhas. And it's all within the assumption that there's a physical world here that our senses are revealing to us. This is the ayatanas. So we're constantly adding to these particular factors. This is the accumulation of the skandhas and ayatanas. And there isn't any ego here. There is just the skandhas and the ayatanas. And if you look at the Buddhist Wheel of Life and the 12 nidanas, you'll see the skandhas and the ayatanas included there, along with various other factors. There's no ego. There's no ego there. There are just these factors going on. The accumulation and reinforcing of these factors. And I should just say that this link, this chain of the 12 nidanas in the Wheel of Life is not a causal chain. They're a series of conditions. They are a set of factors which are actually going on at the same time. So this chain is called the chain of conditioned co-production. All these conditions are reinforcing and fueling each other. So there isn't any ego, and that's a philosophical statement, if you like. But as enlightenment practitioners, we come to the realization of non-ego. And this realization of the non-ego is when we look at what the attention is getting up to, we look at the way it's accumulating, the skandhas and the ayatanas. In other words, we look at its engagement and involvement in this projected world, in this assumption that this projected world is solid and real and of promise. It's got all this promise. This is like the wealthy merchant wanting to engage in transactions with this world, like you can make a profit from it. So non-ego is when you allow the attention to rest back in itself, which is in the awareness, which is hearing this, the awareness which is feeling particular feelings, the awareness which is entertaining certain thoughts. You come back to this awareness, and this is our enlightenment. Once we appreciate the transcendental, we can even call it divine nature of this everyday awareness. This is successful enlightenment practice. But the alaya, another name for this awareness, this absolute awareness, has these seeds. This is the wealthy merchant. He's got his bag of seeds. He's got his bag of seeds, and he wants to engage, make transactions. And non-ego then is forgotten. Non-ego is forgotten as the wealthy merchant moves on with mentation and gets caught up with, well, mentation is thoughts, and these thoughts are directed towards the external world, the apparent external world. This is where the attention engages with the Manovijnana and engages with the world of the senses. And they fuel each other. The world of the senses generates thinking, thoughts, understanding, ideas, hopes, ambitions, and all the rest of it. And we're once more in ignorance. So this is quite a good way of putting it. Non-ego, like a wealthy merchant, moves on with mentation. This is a description of the alaya. Non-ego is one pole of spiritual practice, and mentation is the other. So the whole point of this verse is, once again, to observe what the attention is attending to, and more importantly, the emotional force that is driving the attention. This is part of the samskaras, our psychology, our psychological momentum, which is one of the skandhas. You want to look at the feelings that are involved, the way you justify putting the attention on certain things. So once you observe the feelings behind the attention, the motivation, you can come back to something a bit more neutral, like the breathing or the ambient sounds. And then you can come back to the awareness, the space, the clear blue sky, which is what holds everything. This is our practice, our enlightenment practice.